Hey guys, it's the Lazystone and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about probably one of the most disturbing characters in SpongeBob. Now see, SpongeBob has been known as the best, most popular kids cartoon show of all time. And if there's another, please let me know, because I don't think there's any other show that can rival against SpongeBob. That, to this day, still airs on Nickelodeon, Paramount Plus, and is gaining audiences from young to, sadly, adults, and to adults who still remember this fucking cartoon show. And it still has really, really memorable, funny parts, which, again, made it so freaking popular. But unfortunately, this show isn't really all that perfect. In fact, there are some characters that are considered disturbing, creepy, and just downright weird. I mean, SpongeBob himself is considered a creepy character at some points, but this point I'm going to show you today is going to show you the fact that not everybody in the Bikini Bottom is a saint. Yeah, that's right. I'm here to talk about one of the most disturbing characters I've seen on SpongeBob that I've forgotten that actually existed in the show. I really wish I could figure out why I didn't start talking about this certain old lady years ago. Like, this, being able to talk about her now in 2022 is actually alarming. And the fact that nobody actually talked about her yet, but there might be a video about it. I just clicked my pen. I think this should be a very interesting episode. Well, a bunch of episodes. This one character here is considered to be the most creepiest character of all time. Now, most of you remembered this very popular episode of SpongeBob. It's considered one of the most popular episodes in SpongeBob series. It's called Have You Seen the Snail? It's basically an episode where Gary leaves SpongeBob because he was too distracted in trying to complete a world record trying to beat Dirty Bubble in paddleball. Sounds like a character that we are too familiar with who played with paddleballs before. Now, obviously, SpongeBob went ahead and attempted so many times just to break the record, but unfortunately, he was too distracted to even do the most important things that most pet owners are known for doing, which is feeding your fucking pets. Unfortunately, SpongeBob hasn't done that during that certain day, and so Gary just took off and left the house and went to downtown Bikini Bottom. There, he got into some trouble. Gary ended up being picked up by this old lady off of the dirty parts of the Bikini Bottom, was taken in, adopted by her. She was feeding him like a shit ton of food until the point where he becomes obese. Now, before that, SpongeBob ended up breaking the Dirty Bubbles world record. And when he finally did that, and when Patrick came in to visit him, when it was time for SpongeBob to finally feed his snail, it turns out that he went missing. He ran away. So our dumbass Sponge went on for a hunt for his missing pet snail, and during the search for Gary, Gary just so happens to be at a location where it was like I guess it was a farmer's market or at a grocery store that Patrick and SpongeBob just so happened to be in while SpongeBob was posting flyers everywhere, and SpongeBob was just heartbroken about Gary running away from home. Patrick was trying to go for the scented pine cones, but was beaten by the old woman, okay, that had beaten Patrick to it and got the last of the scented pine cones. Unfortunately, Patrick, being a dumbass, didn't notice that Gary was being held by this old lady, and just casually walks away. But of course, with manners, Patrick said hi to Gary. And so we went on with the music, the very talented voice of Gary Come Home, that was produced by Mark Lamar Stewart. Yeah, I just read his name online. Now, as Gary... I'm sorry, my turtles keep scaring the fuck out of me. Now, as Gary goes back to the home of the old grandma, alright, and he eats all this food at her house, he begins to gorge himself even more into the food, that he gets a little bit more heavier. He starts to look a little bit heavier. He ends up watching TV where he saw oh no, it wasn't on television. It was a poster that was given to the old lady, which she blindly looked away from. I guess she did knew that Gary was missing, and she probably took Gary as probably a different snail that SpongeBob was looking for, because for some reason she didn't read the poster. And when Gary read that poster, he notices that SpongeBob is looking for him, so he thought maybe it's time for him to go back home. And he was getting sick of eating the food that the old lady was giving him. When he mistakenly opened the closet door because he thought the closet door was the front door to exit out of the grandma's house, he ended up opening a closet full of dead snail shells. And so the plot begins or thickens for this one creepy character from SpongeBob that Gary has encountered and now is trying to run away from. She was firing deviled eggs at Gary, hoping to probably, I don't know, crack his shell loose, I guess. But by the time he hit the alleyway, he met that snail he met at the beginning of the episode. I'm pretty much sure everybody knows about it. He tried to hide behind a garbage can that was in the alleyway, but the snail was there as well. He pushed the snail towards the exposure where the old grandma was at and where she was looking at. He picked up that snail instead of Gary, and from there we could just assume the worst, because this lady, for some reason, likes to eat snails. And at the happy ending,
so as
SpongeBob
we
got back with Gary, and
moving forward
Patrick
with this
still
video,
so
there's just going to be a small
let's
problem
get to the
here.
meat of
As
the
you can
character.
already tell, I have added a lot of fucking clips from the episode Have You Seen This Snail? Now, understand this. I had to at least have somewhat of evidence, clips, context for you guys to actually understand what the fuck I'm talking about. Sometimes I know that when I talk in my videos, sometimes I don't make sense, or sometimes I just ramble on a bit, and then there's sometimes I don't even hear myself clearly. I have this bunch of clips here just in case you guys get lost. I'm basically explaining a sinister character in the SpongeBob SquarePants series. Now, as we move forward from this, YouTube, I am begging you, please give it a break with the copyright system. For the love of God, please give me a fucking break. Thank you.
Alright, so thank you for sticking out to the this portion of the video where I'm going to dissect this character in particular. Now, listen, this character does not have a name. However, she is known as to be a specific stereotypical character depicted from Hansel and Gretel, the oldest tale from Brothers Grimm. I might have that wrong, but still, it's the oldest fairy tale alive, and it's in almost every fucking movie that tries to make a reference out of it. She is better known as Grandma, and she was only featured in a few episodes of SpongeBob, but there could be sources out there that could say that she might be in the background of a certain episode from a while back, like let's say season 6. But her first initial appearance in the SpongeBob SquarePants universe was in literally season 4. Then afterwards, she started to make an appearance again in season 6 from Boating Buddies, Choir Boys, and Shuffleboarding, which I'm going to show you later on in the video, but for now I wanted to talk about her appearance and her actions / motives, if you will. Okay, it's already without a doubt no secret that this certain character, the Grandma of the SpongeBob SquarePants universe, seems to have an obsession of fattening up snails that she once adopted and then eating them one by one. There is a chance that she hoarded a bunch of snails at one time and then started eating them one by one. But after that, when she got to Gary, I'm guessing she slowed down beforehand to just one snail, or at some point had a huge feast or some type of craving for a bunch of snails at one time, but then slowly went down to just one snail at a time.
So there's no telling what she did in the past, but this is what I just wanted to bring up. And I've also forgotten to let you guys know that I've left out 2 episodes that this grandma is also featured in, which is Blackened Sponge and Grandma's Secret Recipe. So what we already know about this character is that she's voiced by Amy Poehler. And the appearance for this character is that she has grayish green skin, wears glasses, and has grandma-styled hair. She wears purple polka-dotted dress with matching black shoes, and that she's a little bit overweight and very tall. So we're talking about a football-sized player-looking ass grandma. So yeah, don't have her age fool you, because she has some abilities to kill some snails. She's also labeled as Old Ugly Lady in the SpongeBob SquarePants wiki, but in the Spongepedia.org, she's labeled as the Grandma. Now, obviously, after the last scene of Have You Seen This Snail, we only continue the part where SpongeBob and Gary gets back together, but unfortunately, we do not know, and it's considered unknown, to what happened to the snail that got picked up or probably ran away from the grandma that was intentionally trying to eat Gary. Now, of course, this is like a survival method for Gary to do, but unfortunately for this snail that got abducted by the grandma, it seems to be a little bit sad. Or in the language of a black man, fucked up. So there's not much written about this character, obviously, because she's such an unimportant character, but she was destined to devour one of the most important characters, well, background characters of the SpongeBob SquarePants universe, and unfortunately, we don't get to see any more of her. However, there are some later episodes down the line in season 6, in the episode Boating Buddies, where she basically gives an insult to SpongeBob for almost hitting her. And then we move on to the episode where Squidward tries to join a choir called the Choir Boys, where Squidward sucked ass at singing, I mean obviously, but we can also see the evil character, the grandma, playing the organ. And obviously you don't see her on the organs right there, but of course she is still there, and she just so happens to throw a flower at the owner of the snail that she was supposed to eat, or snails that she's for some reason already eating. But however, I want to see the reasons behind her motives, other than the fact that Stefan Hillenburg only used her character to play as a Hansel and Gretel witch to basically fatten up Gary and eat Gary at the end of the day. But however, when it comes to the story that this was based off of, well, reference to, okay, so it seems that I've already covered the fact that this character first introduced herself into the SpongeBob SquarePants universe, and that she is with ill intent to cause harm to snails that are all over the Bikini Bottom, especially stray ones that have no owners. Now, I wanted to know what type of fish would she be in our real world, and what would best explain her character if she was a real fish. I'll try to ask Casual Geographic to probably cover this, but of course I don't think I have the clout enough to get him involved into this video for finding real fish that has best represents to, you know, have similarities to grandma. But well, I'll just have to work with what I got, so I'm just gonna do the research by myself. Now, the best species of fish that would best represent this character from the SpongeBob SquarePants universe, it would be the Yo-Yo Loche. Now, the Yo-Yo Loche are known for going after snails, a delicacy to them. It's basically their own initial prey when it comes to going into the wild. They're very friendly to other fish species. Hell, they'll even live in the same ecosystem, environment, whatever you want to call it. They'll live in the same room as them, as they'll be cool roommates to other species, as long as they're not snails. If they just so happens to be, they'll go after them like a bag of Funyuns. And just like this character right here, the Yo-Yo Loche loves eating snails straight out of the shell. Kind of similar to how this character handles snails once she captures them and, well, devours them. Okay, now back to the Bikini Bottom universe. We're going to be talking about some of the episodes that this certain character has appeared in.
It just so happens that in most of these episodes, she's just a not a main character. She's a background character, and that's about it. She does have like somewhat of a few lines here and there, but that's about it. For example, in the episode Black and the Sponge, for some reason, the grandma was supposed to be at the Krusty Krab where SpongeBob was supposed to be talking about his story about how he got the black eye and versus the big dude that for some reason he said that he made him cry like a bitch going all the way home, but didn't really happen when he got confronted by the actual real guy that he made up in his head. And the grandma reluctantly came to the conversation between the big guy and SpongeBob saying, "I thought you made him cry like a little baby. I like that part," or whatever. And that was it. I'm guessing that was supposed to be the character, but again, it couldn't be the character. Who knows? It's up to you guys. I don't like. SpongeBob told her to shut up when he was like telling the story to everybody before the guy got into the Krusty Krab, but that's about it. I mean, I'm guessing that's supposed to be the character or a new style, new development of the character's appearance, but that doesn't seem to be the case here. Because if we go to another later episode in season 6, Grandma's Secret Recipe, we go to Plankton's grandmother, who Plankton wanted to steal disguise from just to fool SpongeBob into giving up the secret formula. Another scheme. Yeah, I know, it's like a plot scheme. Ever since season 6 came out, that's Plankton's plan. Stealing the Krusty Krab formula ever since season 1. So who could blame this guy? Anyways, we could see that the character is in this episode by being one of the grandmas or old ladies there, trying to knit, whatever, I don't know. Yeah, so that's basically it. The character was there, but didn't have a line. And now, here's where shit gets interesting. Okay, now that we know that her motive is to basically hunt snails around the Bikini Bottom, her intent is, and her motive is like a mystery at this point. We don't know why she hunts snails down in the Bikini Bottom. Maybe that they're basically easy targets and that they have no pet owners. And the fact that nobody has reported her to the Bikini Bottom police yet is a very, very concerning thing. Let's say if Gary fell into the same fate as the other snails in that grandma's house, what are the chances that another snail might even run into this old woman again? And the fact that nobody was able to figure out that she was eating snails over and over again. The fact that she is still getting away with this shit is kind of creepy on its own. I mean, look at all these dead snails. There's no way in hell you wouldn't have thought that this character would have stopped her endeavors. It seems that she kept on going, and the fact that she had no remorse for what she has done, she needs to face justice one way or another. And she did face justice at some point, because in Shuffleboarding, this character appeared again and was arrested by SpongeBob and Patrick because they had to dress up as Barnacle Boy and Mermaid Man. I said that in reverse. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, because they were out and on injury and they couldn't show up for the Shuffleboarding meeting, so they filled in for them. It just so happens that this character reoccurred again, and she was arrested for being old. And I guess that was just supposed to be a joke, but it's actually a pleasure to see her locked behind bars. But unfortunately, the prison blew up because of overcrowding, and of course, it's unknown about her fate. Did she survive after the explosion of the prison? Did she continue eating more snails after being put into prison? It is completely unknown about her whereabouts, but if anything, it seems that the fish flew up in the air and then fell down. And in my opinion, I hope that she falls down and break her hips and die. Now, I shouldn't be wishing death upon a character, but seriously, no. This woman had the intentions of eating Gary if she didn't escape that house. Just saying. And think about it this way. Obviously, what she was doing was illegal, and she knew what she was doing was illegal, because all those snails, those empty shells, were inside of her closet. She could have just threw them away. It's not like she was a hoarder or anything, or she was trying to keep a messy ass house, or she was just being lazy, because she knows how to cook and clean around her house really well. It seems that that's what she's known for doing. And the fact that she kept scented pie cones at her house, I know she knows how to make her house smell good, look good,
and look clean. It just so happens that when she kept all those shells inside of her fucking closet, it seems that she's some type of psychopathic serial killer when it comes to finding snails off of the off in the alley and eating them and leaving their dead bodies inside of her closet. And that's a lot of fucking snails. So I'm guessing that she did this at one go, or probably did this for a really long time and was never caught doing it. In fact, it seems that she is hiding these dead bodies, and it seems that what she is doing is considered illegal. I'm just hoping that one day Neptune comes down and strikes her hard with a fucking trident. Because God knows, if I had a crazy ass old lady eating cats in my neighborhood, if she gets to my cat, I would probably fuck her up. Now, let's just rest aside everything, all the possible theories that she might have died from that explosion in that prison in that one episode of shuffleboarding, or the fact that she was just being used for one two-dimensional character, which is hunting down snails around Bikini Bottom and eating them after fattening them up, like the Hansel and Gretel witch. I think that is the best possibility of this character being used in the SpongeBob SquarePants universe, was basically just being an evil character for this one episode in particular. But for some reason, I just don't see it happening. I don't see it as a thing, because for some reason it doesn't make any sense. Why? Because one, why would they have this character put in as the type of old lady that would get away with crimes and continue to do it and wasn't met or apprehended by any law enforcement at all? So meaning that she was able to get away with what she was doing and doing it to other snails without any problems. And the fact that she never, ever met her end is concerning. But I want to know from you guys, do you think this certain character will ever face justice, or will she continue doing her evil endeavors by going after these snails, these poor snails that roam around the alleys of the Bikini Bottom? Are they even safe? I just don't know. But anyways, yeah, this entire video, I know it's long, 20 minutes, but hey, I just had to make sure I do my research and figure out who this character is, what she's been doing, and so far I just did what I could do. So yeah, it turns out this character is possibly left for dead, left behind. Nobody's gonna bring her back anymore, but if they do, I'll be watching. So yeah, this is the Lazystone, and I'm out. Oh, wrong button. And also, this video is to contribute to the late Hillenberg. Thank you for watching.